Welcome to Dark Destinations, a monthly examination into the shadowy corners of the globe, where our haunted past meets our startling future. Episode 4, Mongo, Part 1. Mingo City Express is now arriving on platform Zeta 3. Stand clear of the doors. Welcome aboard the Rocket Railroad. Hold still for your authorization scan. Thank you, Citizen Sador.
Thank you.
Please stow all weapons and valuables. All passengers must stand for an Imperial holofilm.
Attention all citizens. Know this. You are privileged, for you share the same celestial sphere as the grand and exalted Emperor Ming the Magnificent. And know as well that His Excellency's kingdom is the preeminent of any galactic system. Mongo, our beloved planet, teems with incalculable species across continents representative of every possible and even improbable ecosystems. And the lands themselves are ruled by the many tribes of Mongo. Fierce, proud, and territorial, each striving to overcome one another, to grind them beneath their heels and claim triumph. But not for themselves, for the Emperor, for our world. No matter your tribe, no matter your allegiance, no matter the wars you've waged with others, you are citizens of Mongo first. Mongo, there has never been nor will there be a more glorious planet. The mere whisper of its name sets known space to trembling. Mongo the usurper, Mongo the destroyer, Mongo the scourge. Unbounded by the puny gravitational pull of any star, we encamp in whatsoever system we deign to grace with our presence, and woe unto its insignificant inhabitants. Not merely because our military might is insurmountable, but also as an unattainable ideal. How can any civilization continue to thrive, knowing they can never be Mongo? All hail Ming!
Two decades we've been seeing the same propaganda holofilm. You think they'd make a new one. I should be used to it given how often I find myself aboard the Rocket Railroad. Should welcome it, in fact, given that once it's ended, the journey will begin and I'll be free of it until the next time I travel. But it's always served to irritate me. Maybe it's the tone, the snarl behind the grin, stoking conflict among the tribes while assuring us that all will be well thanks to Imperial benevolence. It's bad comedy.
The train will be departing Depok Station momentarily for Mingo City, with stops in Gordon, Magnetic Mountain, and Sadello.
Mingo City. The Rocket Railroad's final destination, but not mine. From there, I'll need to find conveyance to the Sea of Mysteries coast, where the Mingo Mountains meet Arborea. My contact will meet me there, a man named Belander. I've been charged with documenting a growing movement's first tottering steps toward independence, or perhaps insurrection. They haven't shared just how they intend to achieve such a goal, whether their revolution will be culturally, politically, or, as I suspect, militarily. But they have requested me as a chronicler. It's an appealing assignment, far more appealing than any in recent memory. As hospitable as Queen Freya has been, I'm overjoyed to be gone of Phrygia and its inexhaustible legions of ice warriors. Their powers are quite formidable, to be sure, but they are a ponderous, boring lot. One more moment among them and I risked permanent mental trauma. I wouldn't be able to spell enthusiasm, never mind mustering any.
Beginning entertainment protocol.
I've begun to feel useless in my position of late. But this assignment, it has reinvigorated me in a way I haven't felt since... since they started bombarding us with that Mongo holofilm.
All passengers must be seated. Please engage Magna Harness.
Border towns have always fascinated me. They're technically part of the kingdom in which they reside, in this case Arborea, while simultaneously feeling as if they are their own separate nation. Rules of law seem looser in them, but whatever danger that entails is offset by a true commingling of culture. Traders from every continent converge in port cities like this one, bringing with them exotic goods, fabrics, and points of view. The rest of Mongo's kingdoms could learn something from them. That foreign influence need not be feared. That another's viewpoint might be equally valid. What better place could there be to start a chronicle of potential independence? Now, if I could only find my contact.
You seem lost, friend.
Better lost than adrift.
Sador.
That makes you Belander.
Let us away.
Yes, we seem to be drawing attention.
Aye. A Karelian on the coast is not common. But a Mingo citizen garbed in a Phrygian ice frock would be a peculiar sight in any kingdom. I suggest you remove it.
My apologies. It becomes a second skin if you spend any time out in the wastes.
We're not there, friend. I hadn't thought such an admonition would be necessary, but you do understand that discretion is paramount in this endeavor.
Without question.
Then I'll say no more of it. Would you hold still a moment? I apologize, but one can't be too careful.
I'm not armed.
Oh, that much I could tell just from looking at you. What I could not see is if you had secreted a homing beacon on your person. Or in it. Clytus's secret police have taken to surgically implanting them, you know.
I did not. That's innovative.
The wicked almost always are.
Those were Imperial rockets.
Aye. No doubt on routine patrol, but where you find one, others will follow. Let's not risk being here when they do. We've got quite a journey ahead. Luckily, I've procured the transport.
Gelwab? You don't expect me to ride one.
I must admit, I prefer fins to feet, but these are magnificent beasts. Perfectly suited to our needs.
Okay, I just don't trust any animal with more than 4 legs.
There mustn't be much on Mongo you put faith in. How sad. But I assure you, where we're going, those dozen legs will be most useful. He seems fond of you, Sador.
You think so?
No, you may want to loosen your grip a bit. There.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any Arboreans.
You wouldn't. Rest assured they've seen us. We passed an entire troop of them 1,000 chetics back.
We did? How did you... Do you think I can ask you some questions, Belander?
That is your purpose. Though several in our band object to your presence. Ask. But no, I will not discuss my confederates, or their tribes, or the mission we've enjoined.
Then it's many tribes involved.
Careful, Mingen.
That was an observation, not a question. This is a question. How is it that a Karelian, a race that, and forgive me if I'm generalizing, is known for living most of their lives so far below the ocean surface that daylight can't penetrate, finds himself so adept in the forests of Arborea?
Adept? I suppose I am. You realize there are villages on land, peopled by my kind that dot the whole of the west coast. There are more dryland Karelians than rockmen on this continent.
Well, that's not much of an achievement.
I disagree. In our father's age, it would have been unheard of.
True. I must admit I'm shocked that there are as many of you on land as you say.
Progress. It marches forward with unstoppable force.
So, you grew up in one of these villages?
Good lord, no. I'm pure-blood Corallian. Raised among the kelp beds that flourish in the shadow of Queen Undina's palace.
Do you have a large family or school?
They're called a swell. My, how little the kingdoms know of each other. And no, I'm the last of my swell. I saw the rest perish in the war with King Kala and his hateful shark.
You fought in the Maritime Wars?
Aye. I've served in Undina's army since probably before you were born. You asked why I'm so adept? I was a member of the Cerulean Order, an infiltration squad, trained to adapt to any environment. Arborea is no more challenging a land than the jungles of Tropica, or the Sea of Fire, which will prove useful now.
The Sea of Fire? So that's where we're headed.
You're a wily one, Sador, and I talk too much. Come, it isn't much further. Yeah!
We've arrived at a clearing, inasmuch as there's less of a tangle of undergrowth. A semicircle that I'll say is about 30 cheddings wide. We're deep in the ancient growth now, the trees millennia old. Given how lush the vegetation is here on the floor, you'd think the sun shone endlessly, but it's a murky twilight owing to the unseen canopy of trees. You'd break your neck craning it in a vain attempt to see the tops of them. Mercifully, fingers of light, sharp as an octoshak's claws, stab down through the boughs and proliferate in all directions. And what they illuminate is bewildering. Belander has joined his compatriots. I was certain there'd be a phalanx of hardened warriors, or, barring that, at least a clutch of dithering bureaucrats. But only 3, and they vary wildly in tribal allegiance. Belander, as you know, is Corallian from the submerged kingdom deep in the Sea of Mystery. He is standing beside an Ardentian from the expanse of savannah just west of the Emperor's palace. I must confess I've never been so close to his kind as I am at this moment. He has brilliant green eyes, set deep in leonine features that seem both fierce and bemused, and his feline ears twitch at every sound that the forest emits. Rounding out this curious trio is unmistakably a hawkman. Even with his wings pulled tight to his back, they form an imposing silhouette known to strike fear in every kingdom. Odd to see these warriors neither posturing nor snapping each other's spines. Odder still, that there isn't an Arborean present.
Who is this trespasser in my kingdom?
Viana, perhaps you remember our resolution to have a chronicler present.
A resolution I denounced.
Yes, that one. And as an addendum, it should be that we don't hold a blade to our guest's throat.
You never said he'd be Ming and Trillig. He's imperial. His presence here is folly.
Fear not, Green One. If he so much as thinks favorably of Ming, blah! Another notch in my war club.
Weapons down. My apologies, Sador.
Not mine.
You are most welcome among us. I am Trillig, of the royal pride of Felidie.
Pleasure.
Belander, you know. Viana is our angry host here in Arborea.
Don't confuse anger with rage, Trillig.
This most jolly belligerent.
No one introduces me. I am Hanak, father to Luna, father and lord of Prince Vultan himself, and I've eviscerated Mingians by the score. Once I flew from the magnetic mountains to the Sea of Fire, carrying 24 Imperial shock troops in tow.
What did you do with them?
I ate them.
Charming.
Which leaves only Gaff.
And where might he be?
She is above you.
Hello up there. You're too far. We can't hear you.
I said, lower your voice.
Understood. I'm sorry. Please stop breathing on me.
Careful, young chronicler. Even a fearsome bird like me would be loath to offend a Skycarian witch.
I pray I haven't.
Sador, yes. Later Phrygia. You stink of hollow root and fear.
Then we're well met, yes?
Get on with it, Trillig. We're still vulnerable, even this deep in the wood.
We're each of us far too well versed in Ming's ability to maintain control over Mongo. His gambit of pitting our tribes against one another is all too effective. But beneath that, he has sown seeds of fear of his military might, that his reach and strength is without measure, convincing the entire populace that even the slim prospect of the kingdoms uniting against him would fare no better than a solitary soldier beset by his most lethal legions. But we know that is a lie, that by sheer number we could overwhelm him. It is that knowledge that brings us here today.
Quit performing for the Chronica, Trillig. Even he knows these things.
But what he, and by extension all of you, do not know is that threat of superior force is becoming a reality. If we don't act soon, Ming will possess a power that could wipe us out within days, if not hours. Our contact in Clytus's secret police has shared that Ming is pursuing construction of a nitron lamp.
Impossible!
How can this be?
Forgive my ignorance. What is a nitron lamp?
The end of it all.
A device that would allow him to control and focus the natural world as a weapon. Seismic shifts, tidal waves, volcanic eruption, and not just here on Mongo. Given the proper focusing lens, he could decimate entire systems without committing a single soldier to ground assault. It's an unholy fusion of the technological and the mystical arts.
Remind me which kingdom deals in such magics?
Watch your mouth, Alborian, if you value having one.
That is no denial.
I know not which insignificant deities reign over your kingdoms, but the great goddess Psyche is vengeful above all. No Psycharian would dare collaborate with Ming knowing what awaits them in the hereafter. And even if one would risk an eternity of torment, that person is not me.
Any of your tribes might have done this.
Enough! Gav speaks true. This is not her doing, and our incessant squabbling is what Ming wants. We're here for nobler purpose, friends. If Ming is creating a nitron lamp, the question before us is not how can this be? It is how do we stop him?
We must travel west of Ardentia, to the coast. Ming has a facility there that is assembling the device. We must destroy it. We 5.
6.
Indeed.
A patrol. There'll be gyroplanes. We have little time.
Very well. Scatter. You know your escape routes. Meet at the rendezvous point by midday, no later. Good luck.
With me, young chronicler.
He'll slow you down, Hanak, and we cannot risk our best pilot.
Very well. No matter the outcome of this mission, you must make clear to all the citizens of Mongo the importance of one thing.
You've nothing to fear. Soon all will know of this new weapon.
What? Oh, fine, fine. Just so long as they all know Hanak once killed and devoured 24 of Ming's shock troops.
Now let's see how adept I am, Sador. Mount up. Do you have an astrolabe?
I do.
I'm transmitting the rendezvous coordinates. If I should fall, join the others only after you're sure Ming's soldiers have lost your trail.
I think the foliage is too dense for them to land.
That is irrelevant. If they catch us on their thermals, they can triangulate our route and rappel down to stop us. If we're lucky, they are scout ships and only have a complement of 2 troopers.
If not,
Then these plants will drink Mingan blood. They're firing blind, but they're upon us.
are they scouts?
Alas, no. Whoa, girl, whoa.
Why are we stopping?
I'll not die in a saddle. When the shooting begins, you flee. The gyros will circle the firefight. If we're lucky, they will not take note of you as you slip away.
Surely the group needs you more than me. This is madness.
Aye, but we live in an age of madness, and all of Mongo must know of our attempts to stop it. You are invaluable, Sador. Take my pistol.
And do what?
If they find you, shoot, evade, and escape. Repeat that.
Shoot, evade, and escape.
Good man. I will delay them as long as I might.
Unarmed? A sword?
A puny word for such a fearsome weapon.
They have ray guns.
They have moments to live. Come here, girl. You've been a most excellent steed. Whatever direction she runs, Sador, you go the opposite. Don't let them see you. Yeah! Go! Now! For Coralia! For Mongo!
Have we unmoored the stern?
Whoa.
Are the fuel lines uncoupled?
They are. Well, what a shock. The Mingan survives an ambush by Ming's forces. Alone.
Where is Belander? Was he captured?
I didn't see the outcome, but from his demeanor, I'd say he fell in combat.
Don't believe a word, Trillig. He's a traitor, and he's not getting on this rocket.
Belander trusted me, possibly died protecting me. You dishonor him with your constant accusations, Vienna.
Oh, I believe you. And Prince Barin and I are engaged to be married. You simply must attend the ceremony.
You don't believe me? Believe this.
When the shooting begins, you flee. The gyros will circle the firefight. If we're lucky, they will not take note of you as you slip away.
Mingan treachery.
If you're done squawking like hungry fledglings out there, we have a mission to begin.
After you.
I'm not turning my back on you, Mingan.
Then follow me, or stay here. So far, your only talent seems to be hiding or fleeing.
You filth.
We are leaving. With or without either of you.
Do you need a co-pilot?
I do not. But sit, young mother. This rocket is nothing compared to the ones you're used to, I'm sure. But she is a damn fine bird. Like me. Strap in, my flightless friends.
We're ready.
Goodbye, Aporia. I will not miss you. Have you been to the Kingdom of the Hawkmen?
Once. Briefly. In my youth.
And you've dreamed of it ever since.
The vast, verdant landscape of Arborea has fallen away beneath us as this band of warriors ascends into the heavens. But an even darker, mist-shrouded green lies ahead in the untamed jungles.
What in the name of Avia are you doing? Oh, chronicling. My apologies.
To the east, the clouds are a brilliant hue of scorched yellow, reflecting the endless terrain of the great Mongo Desert below. To our north is a range of mountains standing sentry for the land of sight that rests beyond them. Those mountaintops are veiled in angry storm clouds, pulsating blue and red and purple. Thank Tao we're headed west, to the lands beyond Ardentia, nowhere near those swirling clouds where even Mongo's best pilots fear to fly. It's said that fire dragons are known to lie in wait within, and, if legend holds true, unknown vortices can appear at random, sending rockets like this one into far-flung parts of the galaxy.
We'll soon know.
What do you mean?
Forgive me, Sador. It's bad form to interrupt story time, but there are two things I must interject. First, although it's very clear that you are a chronicler of the First Order, I find it an odd occupation for an able-bodied man of your age. With the sheer amount of skulls crying out to be shattered in every corner of Mongo, I find your career choice to be... what's the word?
Distasteful?
No. Well, yes. But that's not how I'd quite describe it.
Misguided?
Eh?
Shameful?
Ah, there it is. See? As I said, first order.
What was the second thing?
Trillig is a cagey old cat, and cautious. He was not assured of everyone's allegiance. Still, isn't as far as I can tell. And while his plan is indeed to destroy Ming's factory, its location is nowhere near Ardentia or the western coast. Would it was so, I'd rather risk skirmishing with the entire Imperial fleet than barreling into Princess Takario's kingdom.
Can't be serious.
Do I seem a jovial sort to you?
Actually, yes. You must admit there's something inherently funny about a man with wings flying through the sky inside a rocket.
We'll see how amused you are when we plunge into the fearsome storm clouds. If only you had one of Mongo's best pilots at the controls.
Attention, Hawkman vessel. This is Mongo Air Command. Transmit craft ident immediately or you will be disintegrated.
Time to go, young chronicler. Trillig, Air Command is calling, and you don't want me answering.
Head to the back, Sador. What do they want?
Hear for yourself.
We repeat, identify yourself or we will scramble gyros to your location.
Deanna?
Traitorous wretch.
I know you don't trust me, but I'd like to change your mind if I could. May I sit?
You may not.
Then I'll stand. You must know that generations to come will want to hear this chronicle, and they'll want to know the stories of its participants.
My story?
Absolutely.
What would you like to know? I hadn't really thought of any details to share. I'm no chronicler.
That is why I'm here.
I did, however, think of a title. Would that be of interest?
A title for your chapter? Yes, of course.
I'm a simple woman, so a simple title will do. I was thinking, how to disembowel a Mingan spy.
Well, I could see that being very popular.
I'd listen.
You may sit beside me, Sador.
You see that? The Sicarian witch is more mannered than you.
And apparently less discriminating.
Look, Gaff.
Sador, you're still thinking about the moment I materialized beside you.
You're terrifying, you know that?
I do. Sit down. You have questions.
So many.
You wish to hear my tale of woe, the spark of tragedy perpetrated on me by Ming the Merciless.
Ming the Merciless? I like that. It's appropriate.
It is truth.
And yes, I want to know all of that. But first, I have a logistical question.
Why, if I can transmit matter through space, are we now traveling by rocket and not simply there at the Nitron Lamp's place of construction?
It's not a bad question, Gav.
Such a feat is possible. All is possible through the power of the great goddess Psyche. But there are difficulties.
Aren't there always?
The span is far too great for accuracy. We could as soon materialize in the Sea of Fire as the factory. But even if I could overcome this, the spell bleeds my essence. To send we six such a distance would surely kill me. As it was, that paltry jump from the Arborean treetops to the floor beside you took days from my life.
Why did you do it? You trying to impress me?
Mingans, always such high regard for yourselves. It is that assumption of supremacy that brought me here. Do you know much of Sicarian way?
Clearly not enough. I know it's not common, that you're born into the religion and trained in its arts from birth.
My lineage in the Order of Psyche goes back to the very dawn of time itself. My ancestors built a temple that stood as a beacon in the heights of Raymond Peak. From its spires one could see the whole of the eastern coast. In the harvest season you could see as far as Tropica. And if you were to ascend its minaret's 1,000 steps, you would find little separating you from the stars themselves.
Hold tight, my friends! We've entered the storm clouds.
The Hawkmen think they rule the skies of Mongo, but their eyes are always on the ground below. My people, my family, have always held nobler intent. We seek communion with the cosmos. How I yearn for that temple, for the wild winds of the upper atmosphere, and the starlight so luminous that lidded eyes could not dampen its brilliance.
But that is past. Ming's scientists sought an outpost in my kingdom, one from which they could observe all. The stones of the temple, carried there aeons ago with much effort and loss of life by my kind, were blown away to atoms in a matter of moments.
What is that?
Proximity alarm. Something is approaching. Something big.
Don't look so frightened, Sador. This mission, with our tribes united, is a righteous one, and the righteous should fear nothing.
A fire dragon! Power up the melting rage, Rillig!
It's damaged the weapon control. We can't fire.
Hold on, friends, and pray!
Get it off us, Hanak.
Shut your mouth, tree dweller. Leave the skies to me.
Electrify the hull. We're away. Refire the rockets.
The power cells are gone.
Arbor, save us.
We're falling!
Great goddess, hear me. Though I am unworthy, I am your instrument, and I go joyously into the next world at your command. For Psyche. For Mongo!
End of Part 1. This episode of Dark Destinations was written and produced by Father Malone and featured performances by Matt Sjafiroeddin, Dakota Sky, and Antonio Llapur. Original music by HP Music. Opening theme by Darren Curtis. Until next time, may all your travels lead to dark destinations.